Hi, my name is Haley, and today we're going to be discussing seatbelt laws. Have you ever wondered whether it's more safe to be wearing a seatbelt or to not be wearing one? Some people claim that you will live if you're not wearing a seatbelt. Well, today we're going to discuss some of the types of injuries that you can get from wearing and not wearing a seatbelt, TBIs, decreasing the national debt, and saving lives, and the opposing argument that it's more safe to not be wearing a seatbelt. Injury is almost inevitable. However, if you're wearing a seatbelt, the injuries can be way less traumatic. Some accidents, it doesn't matter whether or not you're wearing a seatbelt, you're going to die. There's always going to be that chance. But some of the injuries that you can get whenever you're wearing one would be chest injury, shoulder injury, head trauma, heavy bruising to the chest and stomach. None of those are very life-threatening. You probably aren't going to die from that. If you're not wearing a seatbelt, you can have blown knees, complete removal of legs, being thrown out the windshield, and whenever that happens, you can hit your head on the concrete, and your chances of living probably are not very high. Hitting the steering wheel, and you can crush all the bones in your face, and most of the time death. According to Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, in 2012, 55% of teens ages 13 to 20 that died were not wearing a seatbelt whenever they were in the accident. Not only can you be injured externally, but you can be injured internally. One injury that causes long-term effects are TBIs. They are one of the leading causes of death and disability in the United States. 50,000 people die, 230,000 people go to the hospital, 80 to 90,000 people experience long-term disability, and 5.3 million people today are living with disability as a result. Just because your head is not penetrated doesn't mean that it's not damaged. A whiplash can cause brain cells to be impaired, or you can have something called coup contra coup, which is whenever your head is hit and then your brain rebounds off the other side of your skull, and that causes brain damage also. According to allaboutcaraccidents.com, TBIs cause physical and cognitive damage. Some of the examples of physical damage are seizures, muscle spasms, double blurred, low vision, or even blindness, loss of taste and smell, speech impairments, or fatigue. And the cognitive, some of the things that can happen to you: short, long-term memory loss, slowed ability to process information, difficulty concentrating, and difficulty keeping a conversation. And sometimes whenever you go to do a task, you can't complete the task without somebody reminding you that you're trying to do it. Another reason we should have seatbelt laws is because it would decrease national debt and save lives. According to policyalmanac.org, if we increase the national seatbelt usage an extra 22% from the 68% that already use them, it would save the country $8.8 billion. People would suffer 132,670 less injuries, and 5,536 more people would live per year, just because we have a seatbelt law. One of the main opposing arguments is that it's a violation of a person's freedom to wear a seatbelt. My mom was a flight nurse for 12 years, and she witnessed some pretty horrific accidents. And she said that the worst ones that she witnessed were the ones whenever the patient wasn't buckled up. They would go flying out the windshield. Just most of the time, you don't live, you were dead. Even if you're in the back seat and you're not wearing a seatbelt, you can still go flying out. She would see people go flying out through the headrest. I mean, it was crazy. Chances of living are greater if you're wearing one. And based on the statistics, do you honestly believe that it's a violation, or someone just wants something to argue with the government about? Let me close by saying wearing a seatbelt shouldn't be an option, it should be a necessity. First, we talked about the types of injury. Second, we talked about TBIs. Third, we talked about how it can save lives and decrease national debt. Finally, we discussed the opposing argument is that it's a violation of a person's freedom. We should have seatbelt laws. What if you could change everything that we've talked about, save that many lives, just because you helped pass this law? Passing it just may be what saved a loved one's life. Thank you for watching.